the fifth generation of the Toyota RAV4, a car in which its class has always set the standard and remains the role model for this class. Hello from Auto Start Test and welcome to my review of the all-new Toyota RAV4. Special thanks to Vantage Toyota Scarborough for letting me borrow another car to test. The new RAV4 has finally begun to look good. My humble opinion is that the previous generation was an unattractive car. That's the main reason why I never decided to do a video test of the previous generation. This time, Toyota decided to design the RAV4 like an American SUV, and I have to admit that it looks good. The whole silhouette is sharp. Here, there is no room for compromise. It has to be sharp and expressive, with a massive front and a huge bonnet, which is visible from the inside of the vehicle. Beautifully designed sideline ended with lights with equally sharp edges. The whole thing looks really impressive and stands out from the crowd. The car catches the eye wherever it appears. Despite only being 4 meters and 60 centimeters long, we have the impression that the new RAV4 was at least 5 meters long. It's time to look inside. Here, even a basketball family will travel very comfortably. Unfortunately, there is one drawback, but more about that in a moment. As a high driver, I found a lot of space for both legs and over the head. Adjusting the steering wheel suitably, but I would prefer to raise the steering wheel just a little higher. In the back is also impressive. Plenty of legroom and for over your head. But how does the RAV4 actually drive? As in the hybrid, we move in perfect silence. A 2.5-litre petrol engine with an electric engine gives us 222 horsepower in the all-wheel drive version. During the ride, the soundproofing of the interior positively surprises. During a quieter ride, we can often feel like we're in an electric car. It's really quiet. A loud sound gets into the interior of the vehicle during sudden acceleration. But despite the 2.5-litre engine, acoustic sensations are more pleasant to the ear than in the 4th generation Prius with the 1.8 hybrid engine. The engine sound can be annoying when standing in the parking lot, as the engine will start to recharge the batteries. Then it's a bit noisy, but to disturb us we would have to stand in the middle of a forest in perfect silence. Fuel consumption is also surprising. This car uses less petrol than the Corolla 1.8 hybrid. I'm not joking. As soon as we learn how to use the hybrid Toyota system in the right way, we can easily get a result of almost 80 mpg and even 95 mpg at shorter distances. And not only in towns, but also in the country roads with speeds of up to 60 miles an hour. Of course, in mixed cycle. Let's take a look at the interior. I have no objections to the steering wheel, but I miss some aluminium or chrome additions around the buttons. Clocks very clear. So I know you probably noticed the low mpg. But it's only because I moved the car around a few meters a dozen times in order to take the pictures, and after that everything returned back to normal. The first cons of the RAV4 are behind the hard armrest in the door. Under the material there are maybe 2 millimeters of foam or sponge and nothing more. The handle was made partly of rubber with a characteristic pattern. The upper part of the door is soft to the touch. The entire dashboard is made perfectly. The sharp ribbing harmonizes with the silhouette of the car. In the central part, a large touchscreen of the multimedia system awaits us. Luckily, it looks good and will not disturb visibility even for the lower drivers. And this is how it looks from my point of view. Perfect sizing of the interior mirror and very large exterior mirrors. They really make an impression. In addition, between the mirror and the A-pillar, we have some free space that will facilitate parking. A few words about the implementation of the dashboard. Toyota has returned to what it offered years ago, that is, a soft material along the entire dashboard. Models from the 90s also had a softly finished dashboard, maybe in a different style, but it was already there before. I think I'm the first person to pay attention to it, so another reason for subscribing to my channel. Pay attention to the characteristic pattern on the radio and navigation knobs. It's the same material that can be found on the door handles. In the area of the right knee, we have several function buttons. Among others, we find one for electrically opening the boot. A bit higher, a storage compartment that we can use for keys. There's a similar storage space in front of the passenger seat, but a little bit larger. Under the radio and navigation, there's a panel for operating the air conditioning. It looks a little bit like the one from the Kia Stonic. Below that, buttons for heating the seats, which this time are not hidden away, and also there's a button to turn off traction control. Then, an anti-slip shelf that can be used as an induction charger for your phone, one of the 5 USB sockets and a 12-volt socket. Time for the middle tunnel. I really like where they put the buttons to change the driving mode. During the drive, without a problem, we can change the mode without searching for buttons and tapping the gear shifter like in the Corolla. There are 3 modes to choose from: Eco, Normal and Sport. One thing I really don't like about the RAV4 is the middle tunnel overlapping the cockpit. Pay attention to the beautifully designed middle tunnel. Visually, it looks really good. But in addition to the sides of the tunnel, they're made of hard plastic, so a tall driver like myself who sits with wide legs will have a problem here. The left knee, after a few miles, may be painful when it is rested too long on this hard plastic. A piece of soft rubber would simply solve this problem. Remember Toyota, when you add that, that was my idea. Let's move on. 2 places for drinks and a huge soft armrest. And the inside shelf that we know of from other models. And a gift for me. Hold on, this isn't a gift, it's a dash cam. I had the feeling that they're kind of watching my every move. Under the armrest, in the storage compartment, there are 2 additional USB sockets. A quick test of depth in the cup holder, and unfortunately, the mug does not fit. But a 0.75ml bottle in this position fits perfectly. Now, let's look at the seats. They are very tastefully made. I miss only the horizontal adjustment of the headrest, except that I recall from the new Corolla that the Corolla backrest is more comfortable. But the seat is better in the RAV4. If we were to combine one with the other, we would have an ideal seat. Adjusting of the driver's seat is electric, and the passenger seat is adjusted manually, at least with this model. Let's take a look at the storage compartment in the front of the passenger seat. As for the size of this car, it is not too big. Inside, you will find an instruction manual with a modest size, and wheel locks for the Toyota and Lexus. A quick glance at the upper part of the vehicle, and we have a traditional sun visor. Unfortunately, we will not find a glasses compartment here, which is a pity. Now for cameras, I would forget about the reversing camera, very advanced and extended with many options, but the resolution, come on Toyota, Full HD is the standard today everywhere. Unfortunately, car makers seem to forget about that. So the resolution is not very good. Now for a fast visibility test to the rear. This is how it looks in the mirror. Let's look back. D-pillars very wide, but have quite large windows. As a driver of the old days, I park using mirrors. Sometimes I look at the image from the 4K camera. Let's move to the back. As I mentioned before, there is enough space, only the central tunnel can disturb the passenger sitting in the middle of the back seat. The armrests in the door are also hard. The handle in the rear door is made of plastic with no rubber trim like the front one. The upper part of the door is soft. Additionally, the back of the front seats is soft as well. At the top, there are two hooks if someone wants to hang themselves. A very solidly made rear seat. We also have a very comfortable, soft armrest with a place for drinks. In addition, air vents and two USB ports. Time for the boot. The boot's capacity is 580 litres. It has a 2-level luggage floor. Under the floor, a spare wheel and a place for the blind. After lowering the rear seat backrests, we get a huge load of space. People under 180 centimeters tall can easily sleep in this car. But unfortunately, with my height, my feet stick out. So if Toyota could make this a little bit longer for me, that would be great. The new Toyota RAV4 is a spacious, very comfortable car with a refined hybrid drive, a car that is very well equipped, safe, and above all, very economical. Convenience, attractive design, and low fuel consumption. Can you ask for anything more? Let me know in the comments what you think about the new RAV4. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Time to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves and your four wheels. See you next time.